Hey students, I wanted to check in and post a video for you guys regarding press releases. Since this is an online class, I know sometimes it's tough to understand the perspective that goes along with why you're doing the work that you're doing. So I wanted to provide some of that for you if I could today. So I've mentioned to you guys in some of my previous posts that I'm a former reporter and anchor. So as being a former member of the media, and I worked for WPDE and WNBF over the years, and being a former member of the media, I worked with marketing and PR directors all the time and would get their press releases and really analyze them to determine whether or not there was a story there that I could actually report on. So it's really important that press releases have what's called a hook. So you're reading in your book, that they have to have purpose. Well, that's the hook. So what is a hook? A hook is something that makes a reporter or editor, or whoever's reviewing the press release go, oh, that's newsworthy. I could report X, Y, and Z. So to give you an example, if it was a story about Horry Georgetown, for an example, a hook would be a new program that would lead to jobs. That would be a hook. So a headline for that press release might be something along the lines of, Horry Georgetown adds new blank program to meet industry demand, something like that. It's got to be short, sweet, and the reason why the headline is so important in the press release is because it really sets it up without the reporter or editor or whomever of having to read the whole thing to know what it's potentially about. So every word in a press release really matters. Press releases have very specific criteria, pieces that are all important in their own way. So in this week's discussion post, you guys have been talking about that after reading the chapter. So you've got your heading, you have the important part about who's actually sending the release at the top. You have in all bold for immediate release. That is how someone who's getting the release knows this is a press release. The date and location stamp is really important as well. And then each paragraph within the press release is really important because they all build on each other. There should be at least 2 quotes. There's lots of different theories about this. None of them are wrong. None of them are exactly right. But personally, as a reporter, I always wanted to see at least 2 quotes. And I wanted to see that because it tells me that there's more than one angle to the potential story. Most stories need to have 2 sides, right? So you'll hear that sometimes is every story has 2 sides, or at least ethically, a journalist should be looking for 2 sides. So if it was a press release about Horry Georgetown adding a new program, the 2 quotes might be, the first one might be the president of the college talking about the program and how excited they are to actually have this program. Now, the second quote should really be someone else, someone different. For that, if I were writing that press release, I would find the industry who this new program would benefit. So let's say that the program was something in nursing, for example. I might try to get a quote from McLeod Hospital or Tidelands Hospital saying how excited they are that Horry Georgetown has added this program so that these students could eventually graduate and potentially come to work for them. So you see how that works. Then it's important to end the release with a boilerplate. The boilerplate is all about the company. It should also have a link to the company's website in it. That's something that's a preference of mine. And then at the very end of the release, this is something I wanted to share with you that isn't widely known. At the end of the release, in the very center, you should center it. It should have 3 number signs or ampersands as they're called. So it should have 3 of those. And what that signifies is that the press release is over, that there are no additional pages. Where that comes from, just so you know, is before all this wonderful technology and email and all these other things, press releases would come into newsrooms over the fax machine. And there could potentially be more than 1 page. Well, with fax machines, it was hard for them to know if they had the entire release unless they saw those 3 number signs at the bottom signifying the release is over. You have all the pages essentially. So I will ask you to put that in there. So when you go to complete this assignment, this is writing assignment number 2, and this week's assignment that's due is all about the actual media list, and these are the people that you would be sending your press release to. The press release is assignment number 2. So again, they're going to build off of each other. So the media list should go along with the next assignment and then the final assignment. Can't change companies or organizations in between. I think I said that in my last video, but I do want to make that super clear. So as you're writing your release, guys, this is the first time you're doing this possibly, so I'm going to provide you some great feedback so that when you include this in your final project, which you will, I'm going to give you some things and tricks and things to fix. But what I want you to think about, this is so important, I want you to think about what's the story. As you're writing the release, what's the story? Put your reporter hat on, put your editor hat on and say, what's newsworthy about what I'm writing? If you can't answer that, you can't write the press release. So think about what it is. And remember, you're kind of pretending here. So you can make something up, if you will. And then you're just going to proceed forward with that. If you're not sure, email me and I can provide you with some guidance. Really important that as you're doing these assignments that you save them in a .doc or a PDF, because if you don't, when you upload them up into the Dropbox, I can't open them to read them. So make sure you do that. So again, there's an example press release in the Dropbox right now that you can look at under the assignments tab. So it'll help you at least get the structure of what I'm looking for the press release. Feel free to open it and modify it as your own. Mine's made up, obviously, just to give you some ideas. But if you have any questions, guys, don't hesitate. Just shoot me an email and I can help you through whatever you're working on. I can't wait to read your media lists and I'll be grading those early next week. I'll be on email this weekend if you have any questions. All right, guys, take care.